Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In today's lecture we are going to cover the process of evaluating the effectiveness of advertising campaign. As you might know, effective advertising require a lot of critical thinking, decision making, and huge expenses. Therefore, it is important to understand the mechanisms through which successful organizations measure the extent to which the advertising campaign has reached its objectives. In this context, I'm going to discuss the evaluation process. How do organizations evaluate the effectiveness of their advertising campaigns? We're going to begin with the reason. Why is effectiveness evaluation important? Why do we have to evaluate the effectiveness of the advertising campaign? As the slide shows, the evaluation of advertising is often a critical factor in marketing success. It is a critical factor in marketing success because it allows organizations to direct the effort and money spent on marketing communications in the right direction. In this sense, it allows organizations to control the advertising expenditure process. It allows organizations to direct the organization in the right track. We evaluate the effectiveness of the advertising campaign in order to spot errors and try to correct them in the future. The correction of advertising errors will help the organization better use its money in the right direction so that the company effectively delivers its advertising message to the target audience with least mistakes and errors possible. This will reduce advertising costs and improve advertising efficiency. And this is the main purpose of advertising effectiveness evaluation. Difficult it is difficult to isolate all the effects of a communication campaign on sales. Yes, sometimes it is difficult to try to examine the true correlation between advertising campaign and sales. Sometimes there are some confounding variables. There are some variables which belong to society, culture, and external environmental factors which might confound the impact of advertising campaign. In this sense, it is sometimes difficult to isolate all these confounding effects from the impact of communication on sales. From a strategic perspectives, organizational planners tend to ask themselves three important questions regarding the measure of campaign effectiveness. These three questions are: whether to measure, is it important to measure? When to measure, when is the right time to measure the effectiveness of an advertising campaign? And what to measure, the content of the measurement. What are the aspects of the advertising campaign that we are going to measure and evaluate? We will talk about each question and try to answer each question in detail in this lecture and the next lecture, hopefully, inshallah. Concerning whether to measure effectiveness, there are three major reasons why do organizations measure advertising effectiveness. First, to avoid costly mistakes. Yes, mistakes regarding the wrong positioning of the product, the wrong targeting of audience, choosing the wrong slogans or unpreferred themes. These are all mistakes which could incur the company huge costs. In this sense, the measurement of advertising effectiveness may help organizations avoid such mistakes and reduce the related costs. Another reason why organizations measure advertising effectiveness is the evaluation of alternative strategies. Usually, successful organizations tend to have more than one advertising strategy. Therefore, the evaluation or the measurement of an advertising effectiveness allows the company to try to compare between the potential effectiveness of each alternative. Therefore, the alternative with the highest advertising effectiveness will be chosen and applied. Another reason why organizations tend to seek to measure advertising effectiveness is to increase the efficiency of advertising. Increasing the efficiency of advertising. In other words, in order to help organizations deliver their advertising message effectively and straightforwardly to the target audience. Regarding when and what to measure, there are actually there are at least 4 stages of a campaign which it is common to use some type of evaluative testing. There are 4 stages where marketing planners may conduct testing and measurement. These 4 stages are the beginning of the creative process, the beginning of the process of creating an advertisement or advertising strategy. This is what we call concept testing. The second stage is in the middle or at the end of the creative process. At this stage, the advertising campaign has been, the plan of the advertising campaign has been nearly finished. It is called copy testing. The third stage is during the process of delivering the advertisement to the public. In other words, it represents the concurrent period, the period where the advertising campaign is in show. It is called the concurrent testing. The final type of test covers the stage where the advertisement campaign has finished and we want to examine the post effects of the advertisement. It's called advertising campaign. It's called the post testing. Let's take the first stage. It's called the concept testing. The concept testing is applied at the beginning of creating the advertising campaign, creating the plan of the advertising campaign. The main purpose of this test is to get feedback from customers. Yes, before we put huge effort and money on specific advertisements, some marketing planners tend to get feedback, ask target audience about their preferences, their attitudes toward the way they think the advertisement should look like. Typically, the test evaluates customers' attitudes regarding the product name, the name of the product that is going to be used, the slogan that will be announced for in the advertisement, the campaign theme, the way the campaign will go on, the direction of the advertisement content and theme, and advertising promises, the promises that the advertisements will deliver. Typically, marketing managers may wish to take a look at customers' preferences, attitudes, interests, and opinions regarding the way this plan is going to be directed. It has not been directed yet, it has not been implemented yet, but the marketing planners and marketing managers have sufficient knowledge about some content of the advertisement, and they want to share such a content with target customers before it is implemented. Usually, organizations collect information about customers' attitude using focus groups. A focus group is a group discussion which may involve around 10 to 12 customers. There is one demonstrator who belongs to the company or who works for the company. He discusses some important issues regarding the advertising campaign with target audience. Through the group discussion, the demonstrator or the instructor or the facilitator collects the necessary information needed to allow managers whether to make decision to whether they will proceed with the current theme or not. Usually also organizations tend to adopt the interviews technique to collect such information. The second stage of measurement is called the copy testing. Copy testing. In copy testing, the plan has merely finished. The plan on theoretical grounds has been finished. It has not yet been implemented, but the plan has finished. Okay, you after completing a large part of the planning process, marketing managers may wish to adopt copy testing. Copy testing is used to anticipate the effectiveness of an advertisement or a campaign, and also it helps the company or marketing managers to understand whether the advertisement or the campaign should be developed further. You know, sometimes after finishing our plan, we want to make sure if there are some modifications that or amendments that need to be done after implementing it in reality. This test helps marketing managers measure the effectiveness of the advertisement, but on the basis of or on the ground of three principles or measures or criteria, such as awareness, persuasion, and likability. Whether the target customers like the idea of the advertisement, whether they are persuaded or convinced about the main theme of the advertisement, and so on. Usually, marketing managers adopt two main types of copy tests. One of them is called the diagnostics. The diagnostics help marketing managers understand and recognize the mistakes, the errors of the advertisement. Sometimes any human activity may entail some sort of mistakes and errors. Diagnostics helps marketing managers figure out whether there are mistakes or errors in the current advertising plan. However, unfortunately, such diagnostics do not help marketing managers to find solutions. It just these diagnostics help marketing managers spot the mistakes without having knowledge about the way to solve such mistakes. One of the main diagnostics techniques used is called the communication feedback test. The communication feedback test. The communication feedback test enables managers to know whether target customers can remember important information about the advertisement. In other words, the communication feedback test allows managers to figure out whether the advertisement has profoundly affected customers' mind to the extent that they remember parts or all of the advertisement content. The other type of tests that marketing or advertising managers use in order for copy testing is evaluation. In evaluation tests, managers tend to test or examine customers' attitude regarding the plan. Do they like it? Do they hate it? Do they prefer it? or not? Are they satisfied or not? Such things.